Am I the butthole for telling my estranged sister and our parents that she and her kids are not my problem? 7 years ago, I was married and expecting a baby when things went horribly wrong. Around 10 weeks into my pregnancy, I suffered a miscarriage, and then I returned home to find my husband in bed with my sister. The two of them tried to apologize and convince me that we could all get over it. But I wanted nothing to do with either of them, and even less so when I found out she had gotten pregnant. My divorce was finalized quickly because I wanted nothing from him other than the divorce and was willing to leave the marriage with nothing but the clothes on my back. Pretty early I realized my parents were hoping I would want to still be part of the baby's life, but I wanted nothing to do with the baby my sister conceived while sleeping with my husband, now ex, as I lay in hospital losing my own pregnancy. I refused any and all contact with my sister and ex. They married and had 2 more children after the one she conceived during my marriage to him. I met my current husband when I had distanced myself from my whole family. He was amazing and his family were great. We got married 2 years ago and his family are nothing short of the best. I adore the nieces and nephews I have gained through my marriage to him, and we spend a lot of time together. Around 3 months ago, my sister called me at work, using my work phone, and told me she needed me and could I please come to her. I hung up the phone and continued about my day. It was several hours later that I got a message from my parents saying I needed to be with my sister. A few days later I got another call and was told my sister had been pregnant. The baby passed away inside of her and she delivered a stillborn, all while he was out sleeping with someone else. My parents and sister expected me to rally around her, and I didn't. Now that some time has passed and she lives with them, I have been inundated with them saying I should meet her kids, be there for them like I am my husband's nieces and nephews, and that I should reconcile with the family. My sister told me how sorry she was again and that she wanted us to make up. I told the 3 of them that she and her kids are not my problem and I still want nothing to do with them. My parents are furious and they say I need to forgive because whatever she did, she is now suffering worse than would ever be deserved, and her kids are innocent and deserve an aunt. Am I the butthole? Not the butthole. Your sister messed around, and now she's finding out. I'm incredibly sorry that either of you had to go through any of that, both the miscarriage/stillbirth and the cheating, but this is karma wrapped in a big fudging bow. Not the butthole. You don't need to forgive her. What she did is unforgivable. Tell your parents to tell her she can deal with it like you did, by going out and finding a decent man to make her life with, if any will have her. But you're not letting her around you or your new family because you're not her husband, Mart. Then tell your parents that if they don't respect your desire to have nothing to do with her and harangue you again, you will completely cut them out of your life for 1 year, to be repeated as necessary. The kids are innocent, but under these circumstances you have no family obligation to them. That's your sister's fault. Don't be mean to them if you come across them randomly in public, of course, but you are fine with deciding any kind of relationship with them is off the table. I'm dying laughing at husband Mart. Tell your parents that you can't possibly trust your sister around your new husband because there's no telling what she'd do to get another man. Lord knows how desperate she is, that she has to sleep with, have children with, and marry your ex-husband, and didn't even have the decency to wait until you were done to go licking off your plate. Not the butthole, and I wouldn't be talking to my parents either. If you guys suffered the same fate, how come you need to rally around her when someone else did it to her, and when you suffered, it was her that was doing it to you? Shake my head. The sister would go after Op's new husband, wouldn't she? Like, just get Op occupied with the kids, so she can try and drive a wedge between Op and husband and get him too. Not just a husband Mart, but Op as a personal shopper. Why would she try to find one on her own right? Worse than could ever be deserved? I happen to think she got exactly what she deserved. She got exactly what she gave to you. Literally found herself in the exact same predicament, and the fact that she thinks she deserves your sympathy is almost comical. I honestly think you should cut communication with all 3 of them, your horrid sister and kind of even more so horrid parents. Of course you're not the butthole. Don't question yourself for a minute. Continue to live your best life, without the unnecessary baggage some might refer to as your family. Yes, literally the same situation. But a bit better actually, because she actually didn't have to watch her own sister fudge her husband. She did not deserve a stillbirth. No one does. I think we should be careful not to suggest pregnancy loss as someone's karma because other people blame themselves, and reading that devastates them. But the sister also has living children. Op does not. The situations are similar but totally different, and Op does not need to do shitty sister the electric boogaloo, and also bonus nibblings are at stake. That's cruel as fudge. Not the butthole. Edit. I agree the husband aspect. Stop replying like I didn't because I said so many people are being ghoulish about stillbirths on a post written by a woman who experienced pregnancy loss and suggested language matters when replying on a thread of someone in great grief. And yes, the thread was full of people crowing over the death of a child when I commented. It is disgusting, and people doubling down to karma-splain that his replies are not making it look better. I also pointed out the sister has living children. Op was robbed of that. That is a secondary loss around child loss. Sister is compounding this by asking her to support because she has kids. Kids who just lost a sibling and had their daddy leave and their home break up. Op cannot be expected to support that depth of pain, and she is right not to. The living children make it an even bigger insult that the family are but family her now, so the lack of compassion to how upsetting the nibbling aspect of the re-traumatizing is, while people act like Jerry Springer audience rejects about fudging her blood, is absolutely the nastiest, most knitting round the guillotine thread I've seen here. The Op was incredibly dignified how she wrote, and the early responses were putrid. Maybe it is balanced out, but as a child-free by choice woman I am appalled by the vitriol about children dead and alive I read, when usually it is the CFC suggested to do that. Op, I am so sorry. I really hope this post did not make your pain worse. This was such a sad story and your grace was clear. But I hope you know not the butthole all the year and to keep being supported, as clearly this brought up new depths of pain you couldn't have foreseen. No one deserves a stillbirth. She sure deserves a cheating husband while pregnant. No one deserves a stillbirth, true in that. But the sister did deserve having her husband cheat on her while she was at the hospital. Something about what goes around comes around. The stillbirth isn't the karma, the having him cheat while she was in the hospital is the karma. And still not as bad BC it wasn't with her sister in the marriage bed, not the butthole. Screw around and expect to pay the consequences. Honestly, I'm shocked that you have not just completely cut your whole family out. As someone who has suffered 7 losses, I could never imagine dealing with a loss only to find out my husband is sleeping around, and even worse with my sister. And now you are expected to forgive and what, forget? Hell nah. Cut the ties and say goodbye. Embrace the healthy relationships you have with your husband's family. I'm so sorry you've had to go through that. I hope you and your family are doing well. Not the butthole. The butthole is the sister who gets pregnant by your husband, and then decides it might be a good idea to marry a guy who thinks it's okay to cheat when you are married. She made her own mess. It's totally your decision if you want her back in your life, and if you choose to ghost her, that is valid. A mistress who becomes a wife creates a vacancy. She knew the moral caliber of the man she married, she shouldn't be surprised. Wow, that line is beautiful to the point of being poetic, it should be repeated more often. Am I the butthole for leaving a fake positive pregnancy test in the bedroom to catch my husband's mom snooping? My mother-in-law moved in with us a month ago. I began to notice my stuff in the bedroom being touched. Furniture rearranged, stuff moved, etc. I felt like I was going crazy because my husband is the only one who has access to the bedroom and he doesn't usually touch nor come near my things. I figured it must be his mom walking in and snooping on my personal things. I told my husband and he said his mom would never. I had a huge hunch but couldn't install a cam in the bedroom to catch her in act. So, I got me one of those fake positive pregnancy tests and threw it in the bedroom's trash can. Note the trash can was placed in the corner near the closet. Literally the next day after I got to work, I got tons of calls and texts from my in-laws congratulating me for my pregnancy. My husband came over to my workplace and was all worked up about it, asking since when I was pregnant, and why I didn't tell him. I asked how he found out and he said his mom found the positive test in the trash can in the bedroom. I asked if his answer just confirmed that she's been snooping in the bedroom all along. He had a realization moment but demanded we stick to the bigger issue. I said there was no bigger issue because the positive test was fake and this whole thing was done to expose my mother-in-law's snooping. He was not convinced. He had me take an actual test right in front of him and he was livid, asking how could I lie about such thing and break his mom's heart since I know very well that she longs for kids. I got a lot of shit because of this from him, his mom and family now calling me a liar and manipulator. Am I the butthole? Important info, nothing gets takes or goes missing from the bedroom. Just to be clear, not the butthole, But ordering a lock for the door and kicking mother-in-law out seems easier. If you were preg, how dare she announce it? So many red flags, one of you needs to go and it shouldn't have to be you. Seriously, in no way, shape, or form is she entitled to announce another person's pregnancy. 100% this woman is batshit crazy. She has absolutely no right to announce someone else's pregnancy. This story is hilarious, kudos to Op, shame on mother-in-law, she had it coming. Right? She is going through Op's personal stuff and her garbage, and then notifying the entire family about what she finds. This is bananas behavior and should be shut down immediately. Couldn't agree more. Snoopy doesn't even begin to describe her insane behavior. Agree. And yet, Op's husband is upset with Op? He is missing the point. Not the butthole, but it sounds like you have a husband problem as well, since he was focused more on you breaking his mom's heart instead of her. 1. Snooping in your marital bedroom, and 2. Her blabbing her mouth to everyone instead of immediately going to you and your husband. Of course, snooping is terrible and deeply disrespectful, but it's made even worse by how she went behind your back to spread the news without any confirmation or follow-up. And she's like this about a pregnancy. I imagine she just has zero respect for anyone's privacy or boundaries at all. Yikes. I would not want to raise a family around someone like that. I also have a weird fear that Op should check her birth control. Who knows what Mill is doing in there? Wow, I hadn't considered that. Considering everything, I wouldn't be surprised if Mill was capable of stooping to that. The fact that she told the entire flipping family is beyond egregious.
Me and my girlfriend were robbed, and how she acted during makes me want to dump her. 2 weeks ago, me and my girlfriend were walking home while a little drunk after a party, and we were robbed by an armed mugger. The guy stopped us, pulled out his firearm, and told us to give him our stuff. I immediately gave him my wallet and phone. My girlfriend decided to be difficult. I don't know why. She is usually very smart, but this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen her done. She refused to give him her phone or purse. She decided that the best course of action was to argue with him. She kept yelling at me to do something, which led to the guy keeping his GN trained on me the entire time. She was just doing too much. She had no sense of self-preservation, and it was very clear she valued her material possessions more than my life. Eventually I took both from her and gave it to the guy, and he ran off. Afterwards she was pissed at me for keeping us both alive. I grew up in the hood, and I have had shit like this happen more than once. I know the best way to make it out of these situations is to just give them your shit so they'll leave. Yeah, it fudging sucks losing money, but that's a lot better than getting hurt or worse in the streets over a few $100s. Both of our lives are worth more than that, but she apparently didn't see it that way. Her utter lack of desire to keep both of us alive over money is a huge wake-up call to me. Like, if she's gonna be this fucking stupid in a potentially life or death situation, how can I trust her to be with me throughout the rest of my life? I know a guy who got shot in the head during a Craigslist sale gone robbery. It was over $200. He somehow lived. But yeah, he refused to hand over the $200 item. I once responded to a call at work. Young guy didn't want to give his wallet in a robbery and got shot in his head, except he didn't make it. Gruesome scene, and the crazy thing? He didn't have very much money, I think maybe around $100? I honestly think the resistance comes down more to pride than the money. Man, even my coach in Muay Thai back then would say that the best action if you're getting robbed is to give all your valuables. It's not worth your life, unless the robber is really determined to kill you after giving it all, then let that fist fly. Every sensei/coach will always say that. I have years of experience in martial arts, and I never heard anything other than, but when there is a gun or knife on the other end, just give them all the possessions they ask for. Kidnapping, unless you are a known ransom target, fight for your life. Home invasion and you announce the police are on their way and you have a firearm and they are still coming? Fight for your life. Mugging? Give up valuables. You can roll the dice, as few muggers are murderers, but even people who aren't killers can panic, get angry/scared, and do something that may not be in them. Safest course of action during a mugging is not to escalate. It isn't a guaranteed thing. You can still get beat up, stabbed, or shot even if you comply, but the odds are significantly more likely someone will be hurt if you don't comply. My friend's husband died because he tried to fight a carjacker. They murdered him and took the car anyway. My wife and I live in a big city. We've had a couple conversations about this. Rule number 1 is absolutely give them whatever they want. I can replace the phone, car, credit card. I can't replace my wife. I can't believe your GF was that dumb to risk both your lives over material things. Yep. My dad lost a friend when they were both in law school. Guy was taking a girl on a first date when someone ran up from behind them and grabbed her purse. He took 2 steps and yelled, "Hey, stop." When the robber whipped around and shot him in the face. Just let it go. They may be a scared kid, but they may also be a stone-cold killer. Don't bargain your life to find out. Sounds like Op's girlfriend grew very privileged and has no idea about the real world. She sounds like one of those girls that would get into a bar fight with a group of guys and expect for him to save her honor. Girls like this will end your life or make you wish you died.